Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's stream. My name is Roshan D'Souza, and I'm a senior partner with BDC's advisory services. Now, if you're watching this stream and you've dialed in, it's because you truly believe in the potential and have aspirations for your business. I often get asked this question, why is there a digital revolution happening? Now, there are two big reasons for this. One, technology is becoming a lot more affordable, and the benefits that they offer up are becoming very, very impressive. Today, I hope to walk you through what this digital revolution is all about. I'm going to talk to you about results from a study that BDC conducted not too long ago. And I'm also going to talk about a couple of points or pathways that you can take as a business owner to jump on this digital bandwagon. So without further ado, let's jump in. I first want to start off by making a case for why the time is right to make the digital shift within your business. Our world today is changing in big and unprecedented ways. The pace of change of technology is increasing, and there are game-changing innovations that are disrupting the environments and becoming norm. Take all these technologies that you see on the screen. Artificial intelligence, big data, 3D printing, robots and drones. They're fundamentally becoming commonplace and changing the way we do business, transforming business models, and will have an impact on every single sector in the economy. So it's not business as usual. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Similar periods of disruptive technological change have occurred only very few times in history. These include the development of the steam power, electricity. Another big change happened when the internal combustion engines came to be, and most recently, the proliferation of computers throughout the world. Today, that's become commonplace. We're now in the early stages of yet another massive transformation, and that's called the digital revolution. Now, let me pause here for a second because I want to talk to you about what digital technologies really underpin the digital revolution. Now, when we talk about digital technologies, I'm talking about information and communication technologies that support or accomplish a business activity. When we talk about business activities, what I really mean is, you can broadly think of it as two sets of activities any business faces. One is customer-facing activities, and the other is back-office activities. Now, when I look at customer-facing activities, we're talking about technologies like your business website, apps that are customer-facing, e-commerce platforms are another example of customer-facing digital technologies. If I look at back office technologies, we're talking about management systems here, things like ERPs, CRM, daily management systems. The key point here to note is that there are going to be winners and losers in this game. Companies that do not successfully manage the transition on this digital revolution are going to risk getting left behind or potentially face becoming obsolete. So, BDC obviously took this extremely seriously. And so we wanted to understand, so what we did is we wanted to understand what's the level of digital maturity in businesses across Canada. And to do that, we first started with defining what digital maturity is. So this is how we chose to define digital maturity. It's defined by two lenses. One is use of technology, and the other is what we call digital culture. Now, use of technology, and we also call it digital intensity, is really how much of technology is a company using in its operations. Digital culture, on the other hand, is how well equipped is a company for change. Does a company have a strategy? Does it train its people? Does it have appropriate planning processes in place? The combination of use of technology and digital culture defines a company's digital maturity. Now, once we defined digital maturity, we went ahead and surveyed the market. So we approached 2,000 companies and businesses across Canada. And we used an existing digital maturity model that was already created in MIT with the help of Capgemini, and we adapted it to Canada's small business context. And here's what we found. Two massive results that immediately stand out. Digitally mature companies have higher sales and profits, and digitally mature companies are more likely to export and more likely to innovate. The converse is also true. Businesses with low digital maturity tend to perform poorly. In fact, 25% of these businesses have seen sales plummet in the last 3 years. So going back to our study, we went back to the two. I'll remind you of the two lenses: digital intensity and digital culture. What ended up happening? What we did was, as we spoke to businesses, we kept plotting them against digital intensity and digital culture, and we came out with a graph and ultimately painted 4 profiles for companies. Just move ahead slides a little bit. And so what you see on the screen here is the 4 profiles of digital maturity. You have the conservatives, the techno-shy, technocentric, and the advanced. Now the conservatives, which you see there in red, these are companies with low digital culture, right? They don't have the right mindset for change, and companies that have not spent or made any investments in technology. Compare that to techno-shy. These are organizations that have the right culture internally, but have just not made the right levels of investment as it relates to technology. You have technocentrics. These are organizations that have made significant investments in technology, but their culture is what's stopping them from getting the true benefit of these investments. And lastly, you have the advanced profile. These are companies that have the right levels of investment with the right culture and are the organizations that are getting the maximum benefit out of this digital revolution. So our survey found, if you flip to the next slide, our survey found that 57% of Canadian businesses mark themselves as conservative. Now, immediately, when you look at this figure, it's a little scary and a little daunting. The reason being, a conservative profile company runs the risk of falling behind the greatest. But I'm here today talking to you about this because if you are here listening to me and you identify yourself as conservative, I just want you to know that there are ways to move yourself out of the conservative bucket, and I'm going to cover off some of strategies which you can adopt in due course in this presentation. There is obviously a good news story here. 19% of the companies identify as advanced. These are companies that are experiencing significant revenue growth as a result of their investments in digital technologies. They're experiencing significantly higher profits, and they're most likely to be the ones that create innovations in the next 3 years. What's more is that when you look at the investment levels, we see that the more you invest in digital technologies, the more the revenue lift. So for example, businesses that invested 10,000 in digital technologies saw approximately a 5.4% revenue lift. Companies that invested between 50,000 and 75,000 experienced close to a 9% revenue lift. And then there are organizations that truly made bigger investments to the tune of $500,000 to $1 million, have significant exposure and investments, recognize a lift of close to 16% in revenue. Now, larger companies tend to have a little bit of an edge here. The reason being, obviously, is that larger companies tend to need more technology. They're better able to manage change as an organization, and they tend to spend a little bit more per employee as it relates to technology. So it literally pays to be digitally advanced. Now, you may be interested in finding out, who's leading the race in Canada, which province is leading the race. So we did look at the split across the Canadian geographies. And what we found is that the highest levels of digital maturity are in Quebec. And this map you see on the screen here is the percentage of businesses that are digitally advanced by province. So Quebec leading the race at 26%, followed not too far behind by Ontario at 19%. Overall, Canada is at 19%. And still, I think, when you look at the percentage wise, there's a long way to go, and there's a big room for improvement for all businesses across the board. I'll wrap up the study with two key findings that we found. One was digital maturity has massive impacts on bottom line, and sadly, not enough small businesses are digitally advanced enough. So how do we actually make this whole digital shift in your business? Let's go to strategy 1. The key is starting small. Technology can be intimidating and costly. The goal shouldn't be to become the next Airbnb or Uber. Entrepreneurs should look at increasing their digital readiness and digital maturity one step at a time. Most successful businesses start with small projects that can create long-lasting benefits. So ask yourself how technology can create value for your customers. Start small, but think big. Have a long-term vision for where digital technology can take your business. This is going to become very, very essential. Now, you can't have a vision without knowing what's possible. So you'll have to do a bit of research. Get up to speed on how technology is changing in your industry. Then decide what you need to do now to stay competitive 5 or 10 years down the road. The answer will also partly depend on what your processes are today. Maybe you have things that are inefficient. You don't want to carry those forward. So you need to know from a process point of view what has to change. And then you can make an action plan. It's a bit of a no-brainer that you will have to invest in technology to make your vision come true. So don't try biting everything off at once. It's okay and a good idea, actually, to go incrementally. Strategy step number 2 will be to establish a culture of change and make technology fun and useful for people. Now, managing change effectively is one of the biggest obstacles for Canadian companies when it comes to going digital. This speaks really to the importance of digital culture. To digitize your business, you need to establish a culture of change in your business. By definition, digital technologies change fast. So you need to build a change team, select influential employees at all levels who will champion transformation. You also need to train your people and develop a plan to help them adapt to the new technologies you're going to implement. Then make tech and innovation fun and useful for people. As long as they see it as an enabler, benefiting from it and making their life easy, they will get on board. The third and final step here is to adopt an approach of continuous improvement. That means measuring your performance so that when your data comes in again, you will be able to see opportunities for further change and evolve your business model over time. Now, evolving your business model will allow you to climb the digital maturity curve and evolve your capabilities. Remember, it's a cycle. One beautiful thing about adopting digital technologies is you have an incredible source of information and power, and that's data. Data helps you measure. It helps you know where you stand. So make sure to define KPIs for each of your business objectives. Define an agile framework for your digital strategy. Then test, measure, and repeat, adjust, or dismiss. With these 3 steps, you may be wondering, what do I do immediately next? And so my advice to you, your immediate next step should be to begin by measuring where you stand against others. Now, fortunately for us at BDC, we have developed a free digital marketing, a digital maturity assessment tool. And we'll pull it up on the screen here in a moment. It's a free, simple, and easy to use tool. It would take you around 4 minutes to complete. It's available on our website. You can access it by going to www.bdc.ca/digital assessment, or you can even go into Google and type out BDC Digital Maturity Assessment, and you should be able to go directly to that website. Now, once you get in, you'd be asked for, how many employees are there in your business, and you would also need to select your business sector and give an indication of what your total annual revenues are. And once you do that and hit on the next screen, you're taken to the actual assessment. This is a list of around 19 questions that you get asked around your business, your culture, how you interact with your customers and partners, and then you get to compare your results with other companies in your industry. You then get a report that gets thrown up. There's a short version and a long version. This is an example of a short version, but basically you get categorized into one of the 4 profiles that I just presented to you not long ago. And you have the ability to also get access to the longer report, which, if you can move to the next slide, you get by providing your email ID in the box listed there. You would be able to get access to a longer, in-depth, detailed report with a lot of suggestions and recommendations on what you can do as immediate next steps. Now, obviously, if you could go this alone, there's a lot of information out there, a lot of people to help. But if you needed help at any given point, BDC is here to support you. Both our financing arm with the capital that we provide and the advisory arm, we are more than happy to walk with you and hold your hands through this transition and through this journey. So I hope today I was able to talk to you a little bit about what's going on, as it relates to the digital revolution. I hope I've been able to impress upon you why now is the right time for you to start on this digital bandwagon. And I hope I've been able to communicate to you a couple of steps to help you figure out how to start on this journey of evolution as it relates to digital technologies. Thank you for watching, and have a lovely day.